Are you often looking for where you left your car, or keys, or smartphone? Don't remember your friend's birthday? This doesn't mean that you have a bad memory. Perhaps your brain simply considers this data to be unnecessary information. What if your brain, contrary to your desire, decides on its own what to remember and what to forget? Is it possible to reconfigure it for less frequent forgetting? Recently, scientists found the culprit that erases your memory, and it does this while you sleep. Scientists are most curious about the so-called rapid eye movement, or REM sleep phase, which lasts 10 to 20 minutes, alternating with periods of quiet or slow sleep lasting about an hour and a half. During REM sleep, the brain exhibits high electrical activity, and our eyes make movements under closed eyelids, which is why this fast sleep is called the phase of rapid eye movement, or the REM phase. And just at this time, as we are in our dreams, reality is erased from our memory. Perhaps dreams here work as a kind of screensaver, a distracting maneuver entertaining the mind while our memory is being cleansed. Recent studies by American and Japanese scientists have discovered how this purge occurs. The authors experimentally demonstrated that this wiping of memories is due to the activation of specific nerve cells in the hypothalamus, which produces the melanin-concentrating hormone, MCH. From previous studies in other laboratories, we already knew that hypothalamic MCH cells are activated during REM. We thought that these cells could help the brain store memories, said lead author Dr. Thomas Kilduff, director of SRI International's Center for Neuroscience in the USA. But research has shown the opposite. Using genetic editing tools, scientists turned on and turned off MCH neurons in mice during memory tests. In particular, they figured out the role that MCH cells play in preserving new information. After learning something new, but before new knowledge takes root in long-term memory. It turned out that the inclusion of MCH cells impairs memory, while their disconnection, on the contrary, improves memory. When these cells were activated, the mice quickly forgot an object they had recently encountered. They sniffed it longer than their friends. When these cells were turned off, the effect was the opposite. Moreover, when researchers completely removed specific neurons from the brain, mouse memory also improved in the long run. Can't ignore the fact that the experiments performed nevertheless describe the model of an animal's brain, and it's still premature to project the results to humans with 100% certainty. Nevertheless, the results of experiments for the first time clearly show that MCH neurons help the brain to forget new information, which it categorizes as not important. In addition, the activity of MCH neurons prevents us from remembering what happens directly in the REM phase, namely our dreams. Many studies show that good sleep helps the brain process information more efficiently and helps move data from short-term to long-term memory. But when transferring information, it undergoes a kind of filtering. Francis Crick, a British neuroscientist and co-discoverer of the DNA double helix structure, noted that during the REM phase, the brain actively removes or forgets unnecessary information. In order to learn and assimilate new information, numerous connections between neurons, called synapses, must be established in the brain. These connections enable the neurons to transmit signals to each other quickly and efficiently, and all the memories that we have are stored in such networks. In 2003, Giulio Tononi and Chiara Cirelli, biologists from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, suggested that the number of neural connections grew so rapidly during the day that the brain tried to cut these connections during sleep. Later, scientists found a lot of indirect evidence in support of this hypothesis. This can be compared to clearing the cache on a computer. If the RAM is overloaded, it can't do its job fast enough, because new actions will certainly require remembering new information. The question is, based on what criteria does the brain classify necessary and unnecessary information, and is it possible to influence these decisions? It's likely that dementia originates from this functional feature of the brain, a syndrome of memory degradation, thinking, and behavior, a common form of which is Alzheimer's disease. In general, the mechanisms of memory still remain an interesting puzzle for neuroscientists, in which the most daring assumptions are considered in search of a solution. For example, recently it's been said by many that information does not actually go anywhere, even with Alzheimer's. But in Alzheimer's patients, the way of accessing this information is disrupted due to the fact that the cells stop working, which must respond to external stimuli in order to evoke memories. New data about exactly how the mechanism of MCH neurons works is also changing our view of the effect of sleeping pills on the human brain. While they help people fall asleep, they can interfere with the process of breaking down synaptic connections in the brain, which is necessary for the formation of memories. In the future, drug molecules could be precisely developed so that the synapses are correctly clipped. So it seems that the brain can arbitrarily forget almost anything. The worst thing it can forget, though, is to give the command to breathe. This conclusion was reached by researchers from the University of California. They believe that it's for this reason that older people die more often during sleep than while awake. A small group of neurons of the respiratory center located in the medulla oblongata are responsible for the breathing function, providing unconscious control of this process. However, when for some reason the neurons associated with the breathing process become smaller, the picture can get very dim. Neurobiology professor Jack Feldman and his colleagues tested their hypothesis on rats, destroying some of the neurons responsible for breathing in their brains. As a result, in the phase of REM sleep accompanied by deep relaxation, the rats stopped breathing. Research team member Leanne McKay said, "We were surprised to see that breathing stops completely when the rat has a REM sleep phase. Over time, the duration of respiratory arrest increases, capturing the slow sleep phase, and then the waking state. It turns out that in a dream, the brain does incredible things without our knowledge. But what if you stop sleeping? This is actually a very harmful way to influence decisions made by the brain." Scientists from the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA and Tel Aviv University have found that due to lack of sleep, brain cells lose their ability to communicate with each other in the usual way. This has a negative effect on the functioning of the memory mechanism and visual perception. Thus, the circle is closed. Good memory requires good sleep, during which we forget some of the information classified by the brain as unnecessary. And again, important memories may suffer from this. Thus, we have a paradoxical phenomenon that must be accepted as a fact or a challenge for modern science. Is it possible to artificially correct the unnecessarily diligent efforts of the brain to remove all that is deemed unnecessary? Neurobiologists have yet to answer this question. Humanity would surely need some means that could accurately intervene in our REM sleep, suppressing the excessive activity of these erasure neurons. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell to enable notifications of new videos, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends.